Sisters podcast, presenting Motivational Monday with Tamara Gal-On.
Welcome to this Super Sisters podcast. This is the first in a series, and this one is all about pursuing your passions. Why do passions matter? Well, I realised a few years ago, having been given something called the passion test, more about that later, that this was a really key piece in understanding very quickly what elements, what things needed to be present in my life and in the life of my clients so that they could really engage with the world with enthusiasm. And that is part of the dictionary definition of what a passion is. It's a thing that arouses great enthusiasm or desire. And I realised that in listing our passions, in knowing them, in owning them, in trying to find ways to integrate them into our lives, we have the real potential to fast track ourselves to contentment, to enthusiasm, to happiness, to more energy in a way that is really quite profound. And the great thing is that when you start looking at your passions and you've listed them out and you know what they are, and then you start applying the thought, these things, be they medicine, horses, art, singing, maths, anything. You can have a passion for anything, but if it's truly your passion, if it's something that's heartfelt for you, and what you then think to yourself is there a way that I can use this passion of mine in a way of earning a living? And you come to the conclusion, and I always come to the conclusion with my clients that the answer is yes, then now you've got a powerful, powerful potential in front of you. And that's been the subject of several books, one of the best ones of which has recently been produced by someone who has made almost a lifetime study of how utilising your passions can really give you a life of meaning. A fantastic book called Finding Your Element by Ken Robinson. He is in actual fact Sir Ken Robinson, and one of his interesting claims to fame is that he has the most viewed TED Talk, 15 million views to date. But his book, Finding Your Element, has the subtitle, How to Discover Your Talents and Passions and Transform Your Life. And he's really not kidding, because what he talks about is once you combine your passions with what your talents are, what you're given is a really extraordinary opportunity to live a life of real purpose and adventure in expressing your true self. And is there anything better than that? I would suggest probably not. I'll just quote from the book because it's so insightful. He says, why is it important to find your element? And his definition of your element is that place where your passions and your talents meet. And he says the most important reason is personal. Finding your element is vital to understanding who you are and what you're capable of being and doing with your life. The second reason is social. Very many people lack purpose in their lives. The evidence of this is everywhere, in the sheer number of people who are not interested in the work they do, in the growing numbers of students who feel alienated by the education system, and in the rising use everywhere of antidepressants, alcohol, and painkillers. Probably the harshest evidence is how many people commit suicide every year, especially young people. So for him, the antidote to this lack of enthusiasm for life, this lack of enthusiasm for work, is this amazing alchemical experience of combining your passions with your talents. And this is something that I do with every single one of the clients I work with now. I encourage them. I almost insist, particularly if I'm working at a high level with my clients, my VIP clients, I get them to do the passion test with someone who's a qualified passion test doer so that they absolutely understand and are confident what their top 5 passions in the world are. And what is revealed, what becomes possible for them at that point, is really quite extraordinary. I did the test a number of years ago, and the passion test, a book I will also give you some more information about in a moment, gets you to arrange your passions in your top 5 order. And at the time when I did it, surfing came out at number 2, which had me quite surprised, because whilst I enjoyed surfing, even though I'm terribly bad at it, I just was really amazed that it came out at number 2. And what I realised when I dug deeper into that was actually I had a profound love of being by the sea. And once I then started thinking about the possibilities of combining my passions with my talent for coaching, for enabling creative people to lead their best creative lives, I suddenly realised that a whole area of excitement in my own working life was possible for me, and also a level of commitment that I hadn't felt before, because suddenly this little idea that I'd had in the back of my mind for some time, I'd probably been coaching for 6 or 7 years at that point, and I knew I wanted to coach on retreat, but I didn't really know what that meant for me. And as soon as I looked at that passion and went, oh, it means coaching by the sea, I created a program, and I spent an entire year just working with clients by the sea. I took 6 or 7 trips to the sea. So it was a real revelation to me. But what I've loved about doing this work with my clients is that they have also found ways of bringing the things that they're most passionate about in the world. And for some people, that's their family, for example, into their work, so that every day is an adventure. Every day is an opportunity to really be their best selves, do their very best thing. And there's something so profoundly exciting about that's why I'm starting this podcasting series with talking to you about finding out what your passions are. So there are 2 books that I would really recommend. The first one I've mentioned already, Finding Your Element by Ken Robinson. And the other is The Passion Test, which is a book written by Chris and Janet Atwood. And the links to those are somewhere around about the link for this podcast. I really recommend either of them. And if you're more of an experiential person, then the Passion Test book actually also comes in audio form. So the exercises that you would do in order to establish your passions, you can be taken through by listening to the audio book. So that's a great way if you're not someone who just wants to delve into this through book form. Equally, it is a thing that you can do in the simplest way of just sitting down and thinking, what are the things I am most enthusiastic about? What 3 or 4 or 5 things light me up? If I was talking to my best friend and they were to say, oh, wow, I can see that you really love that because just look how you light up. What are you talking about? Also a simple way of working out your passions. So I've touched upon why this is such an important tool, because it enables you to find a real meaning in your work, a real meaning to your studies, if that's where you are in your life. But combined with your talents, it's the potential to give you a way of earning your living that is truly joyful. And what a gift that is, and what a gift you become in the world when you start representing that to the people you work with, the people who you love most in your life, your family and friends. It's a real gorgeous opportunity to live a life of purpose and a life of enthusiasm. What would I recommend you do once you have discovered what your passions are? The next step is to take a look at your talents and strengths, what it is that you're really good at in the world, but that you would enjoy doing, and seeing in what ways you might be able to combine those with your passions. Another thing that I would recommend thinking about when you're talking about how you turn your passions into something that you can earn your living with is to suspend your disbelief, is to think there's no way I can make my love of cake go with my love of maths, or my aptitude for maths. You'll be amazed how everything that you are and everything that you love can come together in one career. I've been coaching since I was about 7 or 8 years old. My dad despaired of me being permanently on the phone with my friends when I came home from school. But essentially what I was doing was I was sorting out the troubles and travails of the day whilst we were away from the environment in which they were happening. I have always been a natural born coach. But when I was able to combine my love of coaching with my love of creativity, and then when I was able to just layer in this love of the sea, suddenly the work that I was doing was so exciting to me, was so profoundly changing to my clients that I was absolutely staggered. And that truly came about because I took this talent I had for coaching and I added my passions to it. At year 7 of my business, everything changed because I added my passions. So I really invite you to delve into what are you most passionate about? What do you have a passion for? And just spend a little bit of time thinking how you can combine those passions with your strengths and talents to really find a way of earning your living that is truly allowing you to express everything that is best about you in the world. Enjoy. And next week, we're going to be looking at moving ahead with focusing on and finding out what your one thing in the world is that you would like to pursue. So until next week, take care and enjoy finding out about your passions.